I think before we talk about development, there's a big information asymmetry. Particularly for the bottom billion people, I think number one, UNIDO offer a great platform to bridge that information gap. And that's actually providing free information and transparent information available to all the countries. That's actually, I would say, is the information liberty we provided to them. And then also we give them a choice for them to decide whether they want to take some of the successful cases and to apply in their country. So in this case, once they make that decision, UNIDO launched a country partnership, which actually will welcome country want to becoming the pilot. And UNIDO facilitate the whole process, bringing the best practice globally, and then trying to learn what's the country local advantage, how to adopt it into a local context and apply them. Once we demonstrate successful cases, we bring it back to the bigger platform to giving that as an inspiration leadership at those successful countries, letting more countries to follow the process. Absolutely. I think the sharing is the first and also the facilitation. Yeah. And also, once it's being fruitful, also bring it back to the platform to keep sharing and encouraging more countries to participate. And I think this is actually creating a great ecosystem. Personally, I'm very passionate, about job creation. Why is that? I think in 2015, UN launched Sustainable Development Goals, which is to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all. As we all know, development is a big ocean, but it is the first time for Goal 9, industrialization, innovation, first time on the UN agenda. So I truly believe, through industrialization to creating jobs, sustainable and inclusive jobs, particularly to bringing the bottom billion to the global value chain, that's a very powerful tool to change millions of people's lives. Before we even talk about the fourth industrial revolution, there's also things to talk about the second industrial revolution. I want to show you some numbers. From 1960 to 2008, globally, there's about 200 developing economies. In our human history, in those 50 years, out of those 200 developing economies, only 2 economies actually moved from lower income status to high income status. That is South Korea and Taiwan. China likely to be the third one by 2025. And out of those 200 developing economies, only 13 of them moved from middle income status to high income status. Out of those 13, 8 of them are in Europe. The original GDP gap are small. The other 5 are the Asia 4 tigers. So today, before we're talking about the fourth industrial revolution, we have to recognize in the second industrial revolution, the countries from Japan, those Asia countries, they were able to take the golden opportunity during second industrial revolution, which they were able to create millions of jobs through manufacturing. That is the jump start of those countries' economic transformation. So today, if I'm talking about we want more countries to follow in this, we have to see whether there's an opportunity. One of the things I think UNIDO has been advocating a lot, in the global platform, is actually there is recognized unknown secret for growth, which is if you are looking at China, the GDP per capita in the year I was born, 1978. The GDP per capita in China is only $154, which is less than 1/3 of the sub-Saharan African country. China was very poor. But what made China so successful? Because China was able to, as I mentioned, they were able to get into the manufacturing, ladder. But would this opportunity available for other countries? The answer is yes. Why? The GDP per capita in China in 2015 is 7,500. According to China's forecast, by 2025, China going to double that. That exactly means by 2025, China going to become a high-income country. That means all those labor-intensive jobs. What happened in Japan and also in Asia 4 tigers? Right now, China is relocating all those jobs actually out of China because they have to, because China need to become a high-income country. So where would those jobs to go? And this round of relocation is far more complicated. In the 60s, when Japan was relocating jobs, Japan only relocated 9.7 million jobs. And in the 80s, when Korea was relocating jobs, Korea was only relocating 2.3 million jobs. But then China right now is in the process of relocating 85 million jobs. Where would those jobs to go? I would say that's the golden news for African countries, because if they are able to take a significant proportion of those jobs, that means they can enjoy the same economic model, same economic transformation like Asia in the next 30 years. And UNIDO, I have to say, it is one of the biggest platform sharing this actually, the models, to all the stake members, within African countries, letting them know the opportunity is there. And then we also with the country pilot program, working with in Ethiopia personally at the time as an entrepreneur. I started with one factory creating 4,000 jobs, bringing the inspiration, leadership, and confidence to the country, and that has been actually working with government, creating 80 industrial parks. And now from Ethiopia's success had a big snowballing effect in the African continent. In the past 10 years, we have been working in Rwanda, Senegal, creating various different industrial parks, demonstrate that model I just mentioned is actually workable in Africa. In this process, that's exactly UNIDO played a very key role, as I mentioned, demonstrating the model, there's a successful golden opportunity, and then also working with the countries to develop how to bring the best practice to their country and demonstrate the successful case and snowballing the effect in Africa continent. So as the Goodwill Ambassador, I'm very passionate actually about poverty reduction. I think today, before we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, I'm a beneficiary of the second industrial revolution. And if I'm looking at the third industrial revolution dominated by the internet in the past 20 years, what happened to the world? Yes, we celebrate technological advancement, but at the same time, 1% of the global population holding 90% of the global wealth. The world didn't become a better place. So I think we're now in the early stage of the fourth industrial revolution. We need to think, being an industry shaper, except the technological advancement we celebrate, we also need to think, in order to achieve the 2030 SDG goals, we need to leave no one behind. And how to actually using the technology on day one to those developing countries, to supporting them on their job creation, how to help them on their economic transformation, that is very vital. And my current role, I'm also heading one of the largest blockchain charity foundation. We actually started work last year in Rwanda, working with the government using blockchain technology to bring in transparency in charity, funding, donation process. And we have been, with less than 6 months this year, the project has been rolled out to more than 100 countries, reaching to 100,000 kids in Africa already. So we're now in Rwanda trying to create this quick success. And talking about this, I want to, you're probably wondering, Helen, why did you select Uganda? Because actually last year, I was being asked to head up this blockchain charter foundation. I didn't say yes immediately. And then I went to Africa. I met some of the head of states, including the president of Uganda. And I talked to him, about what is blockchain, etc. The president of Uganda, he's 74 years old. Clearly, he's not very technological savvy. But then he asked me some basic questions of what is money? Why we need US dollar notes? And after 30 minutes, he basically was very quiet, and he looked at me, he said, Helen, you know what? Today, in Africa, we have a choice. We have a choice to determine our development path. We have a choice to working with partners we trust. And I think in the fourth industrial revolution, Africa should not be follower anymore. That's why I want to invite you to take this job and also coming to my country to work with us, because I think Africa, we want to be in the frontier in the fourth industrial revolution to see how we can use the technology to help our economic transformation. This is something for me very touching, and that's a message I think, today when we think about the bottom billion, we have to recognize they have a choice. They also have the right to develop. I I would say learning and inspiration. Because, for example, the panel session I just participated, we have representative from the UN, from the government, and also from entrepreneurs. It's a great platform, and also from, like various countries. So we were able to bring in the best practice and also to sharing the knowledge. And most important, during this sharing, we understand, there's inspiration we can take away to make our jobs better. So this is something I certainly like to congratulate the organizers. And the other little things I've noticed, while I entered the building today, trying to get into Wi-Fi, the way they design actually our each name tag, there's a member and there's a number, login, and also the password. The way they designed it, I would say this is very high tech. This is the first time in conferences I'm seeing this, and I would say this is setting concretely successful, examples how technology can make the life better for everybody. So after all, I want to say it's a great forum, but after all, we have to remember technology is actually it's up to the values, and always we have to put people into the center. Whether it's the fourth industrial revolution or the third or the second, it's all about development. So it's very important to also revisit the 2030 goal of SDG. And also development is a big ocean, but then how to work together, jointly, to achieve the goal in our human history. Most of the conferences is really up to the individual reactions, because actually I noticed in this conference there's a lot of one-to-one and bilateral meetings. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of fruitful concrete actions going to drive out of this, which I think this is the beauty of this conference. So I think it's very important what you mentioned, to move from vision to action and dreams to reality. And it's glad to see they bring so many entrepreneurs coming into the same panel with the government and also the UN organization to understand how we can really concretely working together. So I think UNIDO has been playing a vital role into this, and I really looking forward to really move this together in a multi-stakeholder partnership.